Hello friends, this video on nuclei part 4 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Please make sure that you have watched all the videos till part 3 before going ahead with part 4. So now we will talk about nuclear binding energy. So what do you think should be nuclear binding energy? The word binding, what does it remind you of? Binding means to bind something, to keep something intact. So this is the energy required to hold an atom's protons and neutrons together in the nucleus. So that is why the name itself defines itself. It says nuclear binding energy. That means the energy which binds the nucleus together. So the nucleus consists of neutrons and protons. So there is an energy which holds the neutrons and protons together and therefore keeps the nucleus intact. So this energy is known as nuclear binding energy. So in other words, you can also define this nuclear binding energy as the energy which is needed to separate the nucleons from each other. Let us suppose this is your neutron and this is your proton, right? And just for example, I'm just trying to explain you. Suppose you have one neutron and one proton. So there is some amount of energy which binds these two together. So now if you want to separate the two, you will have to provide the same amount of energy, right? So you can say that nuclear binding energy is the energy which binds the neutron and proton together. You can also say it in this way, that this is the amount of energy which is required if you want to separate the neutron and the proton, right? So this is how we define nuclear binding energy. So what is the significance of nuclear binding energy? I mean, why do we want to study about nuclear binding energy? Because the nuclear binding energy becomes a parameter, or it gives us an idea about how well the nucleons are bound to each other, right? Depending upon the value of this energy, we can determine whether the neutrons and protons are very closely bound to each other or they are loosely bound to each other. So we can get that idea, right? If the value of nuclear binding energy is less, that means less amount of energy is required to separate them. That means they are not very tightly bound. That means the nucleus is not very stable, right? Everything is related, right? If suppose, let us take this example. Let us suppose there are two friends, Ram and Shyam. So Ram and Shyam are good friends. Now if they are extremely good friends, in that case it is not easier for me to separate them from each other, because in that case I'll need to give more amount of energy, right? Let us suppose Ram and Shyam are not very good friends. They are just okay types. In that case, even if I supply some amount of energy from my end, I will be able to make them away from each other. Now suppose if Ram and Shyam are enemies of each other, in that case they will never want to be with each other. Even without putting any effort, you can just keep them away from each other, right? So that means in this case also the similar thing is happening. If the nuclear binding energy is very high, that means you need a very high amount of energy to separate the nucleons. That means the nucleons are very tightly bound, and if the nucleons are very tightly bound, that means the nucleus is stable. Similarly, if the nuclear binding energy is very less, that means that the nucleus is less stable, right? Okay, so I hope I was able to explain you what is nuclear binding energy. Let us now see how do we calculate the nuclear binding energy. Like if I want to determine the nuclear binding energy of a particular atom, so how do we do that? In order to do that, we need to introduce a new term that is called mass defect. So how is mass? Because we were going to determine nuclear binding energy in terms of mass defect. So let us first try to understand what is mass defect. Mass defect is the difference in mass of a nucleus and its constituents. Because what are the constituents of a nucleus? It is nothing but neutrons and protons, right? So if we take an example of any nucleus, let us suppose in this case we are taking the example of oxygen. It has atomic number of 8 and mass number of 16. So that means it has got 8 protons and 8 neutrons right? Right now I am talking about the nucleus, right? So inside the nucleus I have 8 protons and I have 8 neutrons. So let me try to calculate. So as per what we think how it should be, mass of 8 protons plus mass of 8 neutrons should be equal to the nuclear mass of oxygen atom. This is how it should be, right? But now let us see, is it actually like this or there is a difference between the two? The sum of these masses is not equal to this mass. So let us try to calculate it. So first let us calculate mass of 8 protons. Mass of 8 protons would be 8 into 1.00866 atomic mass unit. This is the mass of 1 proton. Now similarly, mass of 8 neutron would be 8 into 1.00727 atomic mass unit. So therefore, we know that oxygen nucleus will be formed of this 8 protons and 8 neutrons. So therefore, what is the sum of these two? Sum would be 8 into 1.00866 plus 1.00727. So this value comes out to be 16.12744 atomic mass unit. So this is the sum of the masses of the constituents, right? Now let us look at the mass of this oxygen atom. Now from spectroscopy, I mentioned you before also, right, that spectroscopy is a method to determine the accurate mass of an atom. So from spectroscopy, it was found that atomic mass of oxygen is equal to 15.99493 atomic mass unit. So this was the atomic mass of oxygen as found by spectroscopy. But right now we are concentrating only on the mass of the nucleus, right? So that means something is extra in this. What is that extra thing? That is electron. If I am saying that this is the atomic mass, so I will have to remove the mass of electrons, correct? So what is the mass of 8 electrons? Mass of 8 electrons would be 8 into 0.00055 atomic mass unit. So therefore, nuclear mass of oxygen will be equal to 15.99493 minus 8 into 0.00055. So this comes out to be 15.99053 atomic mass unit. So now, is this value and this value the same? It is not the same. So what do we see? We see that the nuclear mass, the mass of the nucleus, comes out to be lesser than the sum of the masses of its constituents, right? So this difference in mass is known as the mass defect. Sometimes it is also known as excess mass, right? So this is known as mass defect. So how do we write it mathematically? It is denoted by a delta M. Since it talks about the difference in mass, so it is generally denoted by delta M. And how do we write it mathematically? It is not little visible here. So this mass defect delta M is nothing but the sum of the masses of the constituents. That means Z into MP. MP is the mass of a proton and Z is the number of protons, because Z is atomic number and atomic number is the number of protons. So Z into MP, this is the total mass of protons plus the total mass of neutrons. So how many neutrons are there? Mass number minus atomic number. Mass number minus atomic number gives you the total number of neutrons. So total number of neutrons into mass of one neutron. So this is the total sum of the masses of all protons and all neutrons. So this minus the nuclear mass. which I am denoting by capital M. So this capital M is nothing but, you can see that, the atomic mass or the nuclear mass of that atom. Right? Because sometimes we ignore this mass of 8 electrons because the mass of electron is very less. However, this mass is actually the nuclear mass of the atom. So this is how we define mass defect. So now the question is, how does this mass defect help us to calculate the nuclear binding energy? So let us have a look at that. So what is the relation between mass defect and nuclear binding energy? Nuclear binding energy is denoted by EB. This subscript B is for binding, and nuclear binding energy is given as delta M into C square, where this delta M is nothing but your mass defect. So this delta M is nothing but your mass defect. So if you are able to calculate the mass defect, the energy, so what is this E actually? If you remember Einstein's mass energy equivalence, this nuclear binding energy is nothing but the energy associated with the mass defect. So because of the difference in mass between the nucleus and its constituents, there is the difference in mass, there is an energy associated with that mass difference. So that energy is the nuclear binding energy. So this is how we can determine the nuclear binding energy of any atom. Now, nuclear binding energy is nothing but a measure of how well a nucleus is held together. As I mentioned this before also, if your nuclear binding energy is very high, that means the atom is very stable and a high amount of energy is needed to separate the nucleons from each other. Right? Similarly, if your nuclear binding energy is very less, that means lesser amount of energy is needed to separate them and your atom is relatively less stable. Correct? Okay. So now if you are clear with what is nuclear binding energy, I would like to introduce a...
Thank you. Please visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thank you once again.